Hi there, sitting in my car, gonna go in and do some swim laps in the pool today. Was really hoping to get out and ride, but you know, the weather 70 degrees finally breaks here this spring, and the wind out there is just horrific. We had tornadoes down south of us. It's blowing about 50 miles an hour out of there and gusting even a little higher. Just horrible way to do a first ride. So going to take the opportunity to share with you the new tires I bought for my bike. I'm kind of excited to put those on. I haven't even put them on yet. Gatorskins by Continental, but once the bike comes off the trainer, we'll do that. Wanted to share with you kind of first observations about that, and then obviously we'll do a ride and then see the difference on the how they feel and how they handle. So when we come back, we'll get in and take a look at those tires. All right, so just wanted to kind of review these new Continental Gatorskin tires I've purchased. Got them through my local bike shop here. Always good to patronize those guys, and great resources. You know, there's a lot of bike tires out there, but these guys have ridden many or all of them, tried them out on their personal bikes. They'll always kind of recommend one or two or three depending on the level and the price you want to pay. You know, you've always got those name brands out there which are highly recommended for a reason, and then you've got some higher end tires, maybe even from the same manufacturer, that maybe just too much for you. Don't need that high level racing tire. Maybe even they have some bad reviews on them. The guys at the shop were complaining about a particular tire that cost even more than this Continental. And how by the time we got back after just about 50 or 60 miles, there was already some signs of wear in the side of the tire, oddly enough. So they had to carry them because they carry the entire full line, but they definitely tried to steer you away from those. So these are the Continental Gators. I don't know if you can see that, paid $54. Really don't care if it's a couple of dollars more than you get them online. Those guys are well worth it. And first impressions of the tire, very rigid. There's almost this center core right through the top of it that is, you can tell, been bulked up, maybe multiple layers. I don't know if you can see it through my iPhone here, but you can see that there's actually a different pattern in the middle, and then there's this, like, probably a gator skin or almost scalies. You know, not really a skin, but scales on the side, and maybe like gator skin looking material on the inside, middle portion where the road surface contacts. So a couple of different layers there. It's very stiff, and I'll pull the other one up here in a minute. You can look at it, what I have been riding. Couple of interesting things I wanted to note about the manufacturing of this tire. You know, these little, I can't see it because my dark jacket, but there you go. There's a good view of it. These little places where they insert the rubber into the mold is right down the middle of the tire. It's about every 4 inches, maybe 5 inches, 4.5 maybe. And then there's little crevices where it's coming over the side of the tire. You really can't see it. It's very small, but it differs from the other tire that I'll hold up here, the Serfas Seca tire. And I just thought it was interesting that it's much more centralized over the middle of that extra layer of what they're probably calling gator skin on this tire. And it I don't know if it has something to do with building the rigidity in there, or if it does create a stronger bind or core of that tire. Interestingly enough, they also have some sort of different rubber along the outside of the tire. You can see the different color there. Definitely some sort of sidewall protector thing if the rubber feels different than the rest of it. Tread pattern. I was looking for an all-around tire. You know, I'm not doing gravel. I'm not doing off-road, you know, cross rides there. But more interested in something that's going to hold up for my rain ride, my 160 miles, all the training that has to come beforehand, a couple of events afterwards. Looking for that tire that's going to hold up where that little piece of glass, that little pebble, rock, sharp, whatever it is, stick, doesn't affect that ride, doesn't slow that ride down, and have to be changing a bunch of flat tires. So a couple of things I wanted to show you on this Serfas tire. Very rubbery. See if I can hold this up differently. But you can see how it crinkles there in the sides. Very soft tire. I did do my first Century ride on these tires. Didn't put a whole lot of mileage after that. Maybe only about 150 more miles going into the fall with that. Very little wear off the middle of the tire there. You can still see kind of the core, riding surface there, and the treads are still in good shape. On the sides, this is the front tire. I didn't take the back tire off the bike. Still on the trainer here. Rode this morning. But the back tire shows mass amounts of wear based on that roller on the trainer. Sorry, the kids are screaming across the street. I have to try to keep an eye on them at the moment. Just want to make sure they're okay. And so, yeah, interestingly enough, see if I can get a good example. You can see how the molding things are off the side of this tire, and they are every 6 inches, 8 inches, and they're on both sides. So I don't know if it's good or bad, but the mold, the rubber has to be injected a lot further down the mold, and you would probably have to hope that it meets in the middle. I know they do a great job. I don't see any imperfections per se. There's a couple of kind of indentations. I don't know if it's very mild, but sometimes you see a little indentation in it. Oddly enough, they're kind of right where the molds are injected. Don't know if that's because it's been sitting on the trainer and a flat spot's been created. I tried to rotate the front tire every 3 or 4 rides just to keep that from not getting a bald spot. I've been keeping them non-fully pressurized, kind of a nice medium. Didn't want to sit there on a hard tire, wanted kind of a soft ride on the front, but yeah, so I have nothing bad to say about these tires. They held up. I haven't had a flat. They're going to be backup tires for me. I'm going to keep them around definitely. Next winter, and take the front tire, put it on the back wheel, ride that one into the ground on the trainer next year. I could ride the back tire. It's not unrideable, and I know they take a beating on them. I knew they were going to take a beating. I knew exactly what I was going to do with them when I bought them. I only paid like $12, $15 for these tires. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe let's call it $20, under $20. When you compare that with that Continental, I get a set for the price of one tire. I can burn those up. It's not a big deal for me. Going to put the Continentals on for the summertime, then change them right back out again for this Seca tire. So not even sure. Don't have a lot of research or history. I haven't even seen anybody else ride these per se in the group. So I may be kind of lower end for those guys, or they've already made this decision and moved on. One of the things you want to be careful about when you're changing over your tires is rotational direction. See if you can see that little arrow and the line facing forward. I didn't see that first time changing my tire out. Put it on there, and then I was putting it on the bike and was like, wait a second, there's arrows on here. So had to re-put the front one on back last fall when I was putting these on, or last September, I think it was. So pay attention to that. The Continental also has the same directional arrows on them. They didn't highlight it as well. Now I can't even find it now that I'm looking for it. But they are on there. Maybe it was only on one side. So make sure those go in the right direction. There's a little bit of a tread pattern difference. So maybe that has to do with the way those things are supposed to grip or turn as you're rotating those tires. So pay attention to that. But the biggest difference is just the stiffness. As you move that, whatever this is holding that sidewall up. You don't see a wrinkle in it. So I can't wait to try them on the road. Should see a big difference, I suspect. Air pressure. This one is rated for, again, these are 725 Cs. Recommended pressure is 95 PSI, max pressure 120. So max pressure on the Secas are 130, much higher. Never rode it at 130. I think 90, 95, I think is about roughly where I was riding those, which is, I know, is a little soft for me and my weight. A little over the 200-pound range still, trying to burn those last few pounds to get underneath 200. But I'm actually going to do a little bit of calculations and see if I can dial in these Continentals on a correct or more of a generalized weight ratio for me and what I'm trying to ride, and then see if I can dial that in more, because I've always been, okay, let's pump it up to, let's try 90, 95 today, 90, I want to ride soft, let's be aggressive, pump it up just a little bit. So I've always heard that 1 kilo for 1 PSI. I'm going to try that, see if it makes a difference, see if I can zone that in a little bit and be much more consistent with the pressure I'm riding in. So I'm going to get these on here probably in the next week. We had 70 degrees, supposed to be 50 on Monday. I might go for the ride on Monday night with the guys. I don't have any of the arm warmers or base layers. I do have a long sleeve riding shirt that's for 50 degrees. If it's not too windy and the sun's out, I'll go on that. So we're getting there. The grass is greening up. Birds are chirping and coming in to the bird feeders. So it's time to get it out there. Had a great spin on the bike here this morning. Rode with the GCN video for about 40 minutes. It was Matt did the video. Very consistent effort time for 40 minutes. Much different than the other videos I've ever ridden with. The first time I've done this video, man, it wiped my body out. I'm pretty tired actually at the moment after only 40 minutes. It's been a long week. I don't think I've missed any training sessions this week. Biking, running, and swimming. So definitely have to take tomorrow off and get back on it. I was thinking about pushing myself and maybe doing a dual session once a night, maybe only 20 minutes, just to throw my body into a little bit of confusion, and then take the full day off tomorrow. So we'll see about that. But overall, first impressions, back to the tire. Sorry about that rambling. Much either higher quality or completely different style tire. We're going to have to find out. I'll let you know how it goes. Remember, ride hard, ride far.